You all ready? I'm still looking at that. We'll call this meeting to order. And first thing is, review and approve April 2022 minutes.
I move that the minutes be accepted as printed.
All in favor? Is that the copy we're signing, or I don't have it?
I'll do that one, yeah.
And review and approve May 3rd, 2022 warrants. We're going through those now.
Good. This language in there, what they are, what they are. I move that the warrant be accepted as. Good.
Give me a second. All in favor? You got a cold, Bob?
Just a little bit. Tired.
No. Rough weekend, huh? Is that partying? Alright, next thing is PCO harassment complaint.
All right,
You're
come
up.
up. So, last week, Debbie received a complaint on her email from the residents at 879 Pocket Trail. They feel as though they're being harassed by me, the animal control officer, in regards to their chickens and ducks and geese, guinea hens, any other type of bird you want to think of, in the middle of the road, 113. So I have been in contact with them folks quite a bit since the beginning of April. There's numerous amounts of calls. You guys saw the calls.
Looks like from the beginning of the year.
Well, yeah, the beginning of the year, I was dealing with some dog complaints, some possible animal cruelty stuff there. I'm still following up on all that stuff. As far as the dog complaints go, I can't address licensing until after May 18th, because that is when they were able to get a vet appointment to make for the rabies vaccine.
Right.
So after May 18th, I'll be addressing that situation with them. The big issue for me right now and for the town is the birds, and actually on April 11th, one of their dogs was loose as well, running in and out of 113. Is the animals in the middle of 113. We have multiple reports in here, statements from folks that these animals have almost caused car accidents.
Yeah.
I could say that too, because I did exactly the same thing.
Yeah.
I had to slam the brakes on.
Yeah, so, and Jim, you were in the office this morning, that young lady was, also complaining, she's never filed a complaint. So this is just the complaints that have come in through dispatch. There's numerous other complaints who have called me directly, and I've advised them to call dispatch so we have a record of it.
Right, exactly.
They never do,
Okay.
but, I try not to document all those until there's an actual record of it
Yeah.
on file.
Something
With-
to back you up.
With Cumberland County.
Yeah.
So, with that being said, we're at the point where I've issued, a notice to comply once, for the law pertaining to animal trespass, which just is that their animals can't trespass onto state or town-owned property, or the property of a private owner that does not want them there. And that's, for Title VII, Section 41. So they've been issued one notice for that, multiple verbal warnings for that, which a verbal warning in court's not gonna go anywhere. I attempted on, on April 27th to make contact with them. That was the night that their complaint came in. I attempted to contact them, and I did speak with, the female resident, at, I believe it was 3:30. Let me just look at my records here. It was 3:45. I spoke with a female resident, and we had set up a meeting for 6:30 that night, so I could issue another notice to comply. I showed up there at 6:30, no one was there. They said they were at work, at 3:45. So I said, all right, I'll give them a little bit of time. 6:45 rolled around, no one showed up. I left the address, I went up and I sat at the post office, 7 o'clock, I went back down, no one. 7:30, no one, and I waited there until 8. So now they're just avoiding me. I've tried to call once since then, and I have sent a text message, which was all documented in the report, just saying that, hey, we need to meet up so I can issue this paperwork. I feel at this point, I've tried to do my due diligence. I feel at this point, I think this warrants a summons to court, and that's the road that I'm looking to take. I just wanted to run it by you guys where there was a harassment complaint now.
Yeah.
And see what you guys had to say about it,
There was
what your feelings are.
Do we have record of that, copy of the complaint? Is it
Debbie has, an email from her
email?
requesting how to file a complaint, I guess, is what it actually said. How to file a complaint against the animal control officer for harassment.
You're doing your job.
Yeah, so yeah, but I just didn't know how you guys want to go about it, and also, I want to know which one of you three would be available tomorrow to ride over to that address with me, and, we'll issue that summons together.
Can you explain what the process is? You issue them a summons, where do they go to court?
So they'll go to court in Bridgeton District Court.
Yeah. And you go attend with them?
And I would attend with them. I take all my records, submit it to the DA, and then the DA would, be our lawyer, basically, and would tell the judge, look, they've found in violation of this law, and this is what the town's looking to have done, which would be the minimum fine. The minimum fine, I don't have it in here, but I believe is, for the first offense, is from $500 to $1,000 fine. And the second offense is an automatic $1,000 fine with none of it being waived. This would be their first offense going to court. All the rest of this is just, documentation leading up to it.
Here's the thing that I don't know, and I want you to do some research, is that they've been foreclosed by somebody who has a mortgage on their house. They've been foreclosed by the town on their property for not paying the taxes. They have filed for bankruptcy. There's a issue with child support payments from them. And then this, and so I don't know that filing more financial penalties on them will get a result, which is what we're really interested in, right?
Yeah, well, I'm interested in a result.
So I will go with you.
Yeah.
And hopefully we can talk to them about getting a result You know, I'd rather see him spend the money on some chicken wire than,
Yeah, so I will, say that after one of my meetings with them, they did put up a small fence in an attempt to keep the animals on the property. However, it's not adequate.
yeah.
They were told it was not adequate. The birds are flying over it, they're going around it, under the guardrail, coming through the driveway. So, as far as I've looked into other options for us, I am looking up some other avenues that I'm not gonna disclose right now. But to do the animal trespass side of things, I have to take them to court X amount of times before the judge would grant me permission to seize the animals at that point, because they are becoming a public hazard.
Yeah.
They're gonna cause an accident, it's just bound to happen.
Yeah.
It's gonna happen. The
So
young
what time
lady
you
that was
wanna
in
go?
the office this morning was telling us how a tractor-trailer truck was trying to avoid one of the chickens and almost took her head on.
Yeah.
And that's death right there,
Yeah,
she
yeah,
would've
yeah.
died.
So what time?
What time tomorrow?
Yeah.
I come on duty at 7:30, I'll be in Spanish at 7:30, 9 o'clock?
Yeah?
Yeah.
You know where I live?
Yeah, you're on Chase, right?
Chase Road, yeah.
Yeah.
May I join?
Sure.
I know Samantha Corriboro. I've had dealings before and good rapport with them.
Yeah, well, and prior to this date, the April 27th date, I've had good rapport with them. I've worked with them, I've cut them slack on the dog licensing stuff, I've cut them slack on the animal trespass stuff, like, hey, so the way the animal trespass law is written, I only have to give 12 hours for them to correct the issue, a total of 12 hours. I gave them 30 days. I gave them 10 days, and I gave them another 30 days. I think they've gotten all the handouts that I'm willing to give.
Well, not only that, if, you know, I really don't care that we collect any money or not.
No, it isn't about the money.
It's not about the money, it's the public safety, it's the safety of the animals.
Yeah.
You know, how many, do you know about how many chickens have gotten hit?
I have personally seen, 3 dead chickens in the road.
Yeah.
And there was 1 duck that was reported to me, so.
That's what I'm more concerned about. Stuff is safety.
And we had a dead cat in the road that Mr. Bello, what you say, Mr. Bello, originally claimed as his, and I advised him to go over to the vet's office, pick the animal up and pay for the cremation, or just pick the animal up, whatever he wanted to do. When he found out that there was gonna be a payment, involved.
Kind of back up.
No one ever showed up, how's that? So the town paid that bill. So his animal, allegedly his animal being in the road cost the town money, because he refused to claim the animal.
So what'd you say, 9 a.m.?
9 a.m.
Come to my house at 9.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah.
all you do is just take and shoot him, what's I gonna do?
No, can't shoot them. Yeah, and,
Oh, so what?
I mean, the dog's running at large. The white male pit bull that's on the property, in my opinion, is very aggressive. The neighbors across the street are very concerned about that dog running at large, so, and he has broken loose and been in their yard, at least once when they reported it.
Yeah.
On April 11th. So, he's,
You had one of your complainants was a vet from.
yeah, she's a vet tech.
Vet tech from Standish.
From Standish Vet, and she lives just up the road, and she's very concerned about that whole property, the whole situation, and I've received multiple complaints from her.
Yeah, I mean,
and then-
she knows what she's talking about.
Yeah, and then there was a woman from, Eaton, New Hampshire, who would like me to start an animal cruelty case, because she has witnessed the dogs, and the dogs are very skinny.
Yeah.
They are pretty skinny. When I went out there the first time in January, the dogs were not skinny to the point where I thought it was cruelty. They were on the lean side, but they didn't seem to be skinny to the point where it was cruelty. When I witnessed the dogs on the 27th, they were, I could see rib cages and stuff, so we're working towards an animal cruelty case,
Okay.
is what's gonna end up happening. So the state of Maine will get involved, and they're gonna take over the case from there. So that was the portion I wasn't gonna bring up, but you worked it out of me, Jim. So I am contacting the state of Maine, and I'm gonna ask them to step in for the animal cruelty portion of the
Okay.
investigation,
All right. Good.
so.
But you did give them leeway in terms of rabies vaccination?
Yes, so they have until the 18th, they have a scheduled appointment at Soxby Valley Vet on May 18th to get the male pit bull and the other adult female pit bull vaccinated and then licensed with the town.
Yeah.
And then if they don't do that after the next week, if the dog's not licensed with the town by the 25th, then they're gonna get another notice for that. Actually, probably they're gonna get another summons for that.
Yeah.
Or we approved town fines here, correct? You guys last year
Yeah.
accepted a town fine.
That's what, for the ordinance?
For the ordinance
Yeah,
fines, yep, so they'll get a town fine for the
yeah. Non-licensed?
non-licensed.
We don't have to take them to court on that?
We don't do it in Standish.
Okay.
The select board or the town council handles that in-house.
Okay.
Basically, I issue them the fine, they come to the town office and pay.
Okay.
So, and then when they fail to pay that fine, this is how it works in Standish, when they fail to pay that fine, then they get the summons to court.
Okay.
So,
All right.
and I agree with you, Bob, I don't think that imposing financial things against these folks is the right path to take, but if it's the only path we have,
Yeah.
It's better than a car accident, I tell you,
yeah.
or an oil tanker.
Well,
Yeah.
and one of those complaints, the last complaint that was filed, you guys read in the statement that she would like to see the ACO do his job, and I'm like, I tell everybody that calls me, we're working on it, like,
Yeah.
there's a certain steps we have to do.
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen is, when someone crashes, they're gonna say, well, we filed complaints with the town this many times, and they've done nothing, so.
No, you got proof right here.
We've got proof that we're doing
You're
stuff,
doing
but,
stuff, and it's, right now, it's being recorded. so
Yeah.
So I'm surprised there hasn't been an accident. You hear of accidents of people avoiding squirrels and chipmunks.
Yeah, yeah.
so, I was at Whistle Stop the other day, and one of the complainants, I was on the phone with a complainant about that, and the other complainant pulled in and stopped and was, oh, I need to report this, so I asked her, and she wrote me a statement, so, and, she said she was gonna call you, Dwight, she knows you very well, so, yeah, but, then she talked to your sister instead.
Do you two mind if I send a note to, David Laurie about issuing a fines to somebody who's, in bankruptcy?
Oh, yeah.
Just to make
Fine
sure
with that, yeah, no, this, good idea,
I would think you'd be able to do it, but I just want to be sure,
yeah.
because,
We wonder whose hands off that first.
we're not supposed to send them a foreclosure notice when we foreclose on them.
Yeah,
It's against the law to send them a notice saying they're foreclosed.
yeah.
It's against the law to tell them that, you know, a tax lien is matured. So we're not supposed to talk to them at all about money,
Okay.
and I just wanna make sure.
Yeah,
All right, well, I would lean towards the side that we are allowed to, because these are laws that are being broken.
Yeah.
And just because you're in bankruptcy doesn't mean you don't get a speeding ticket, right? So, I mean, that's how I always compare it. We had the same discussion over in Parsonsfield one time about, well, we can't send this person that because we're not allowed to have contact with them. No, the town fathers and the clerks aren't, the ACO still is. I'm enforcing laws, I mean,
Good.
so,
No, I'll see if I
Well, yeah.
can come overnight.
yeah.
But it's just, it's a step and means to an end. It's like a process that you have to go
Yeah,
through
so,
in order for them to seize the animal.
again, the way the animal trespass law is written, I have to go to court at least 3 times against them before the judge can grant a seizure order.
yeah,
where we would seize the animals, sell the animals at auction or someone locally, whatever, and then whatever fines they owe us, we take that money out of the animals, and then whatever money's left over gets given back to the fellow.
Oh, yeah.
And Ricky, could you speak to the daily fee when they do seize animals, what they charge the?
Yeah, so if the town were to seize animals, there would be a daily fee to house those animals wherever we find fit, whether it be call Stevie up and say, hey, you got a bond, you wanna house some animals, we're gonna pay you X amount of dollars a day per animal. But there is a clause in there where we have to house those animals.
Yeah.
And if he wants to do it for free, then awesome, good for us, but, there could be those fees, which is the other reason why if I get the state involved, we have their money. So, and they have to pay for it, so. And again, I don't wanna steal anybody's animals, take anybody's animals,
But,
but if that's the path we have to take to protect the community, then
yeah,
that's the path we'll take. So,
Okay, see more.
all right.
Yeah.
Morning time,
Yeah.
sounds good.
well, thank you for coming.
Well, that's it for me. Have fun.
Seriously. Status of town reports, what held up at the printer?
They're in the printing process right now, as of tomorrow, we'll be able to grab the, excess amount that's not to be mailed to folks. Yeah.
So I'll drive over,
She said she was gonna either call or shoot me an email first thing in the morning, but, if I don't hear by a certain time, then certainly I can follow up.
yeah, so after we, do our thing down at the end of the road there,
Yeah,
we'll come back.
just so that we can have some, we have the warrant posted everywhere, plus I made extra copies of the warrant itself to have here should somebody request a report. There was a gentleman that came in, I didn't realize, but he wanted a report. So, if we have a few here to give, out,
Yeah.
should somebody come in, then that might be helpful.
Yeah.
Do you know when they're gonna be mailed?
It's kind of, yesterday they were printing and binding, and so I've had this conversation, but I think they're moving along as quickly as they can. It's just, they're up against it with the deadline, and
Yeah.
It hasn't gone as smoothly,
As in the past, and at some point, we're responsible because
we have generally been able to hold it up on our end, getting it just perfect before we send it to the printers, and they very quickly do their thing and get them done. This time it didn't happen that way. It's like maybe there's some experienced worker there, I don't know. And then the printing itself seems to have taken longer than it normally does. So,
well, it was just, I think, kind of an accumulatory effect between, I think things got pushed back on our end a little bit. Certainly, we've got new employees, myself being one of them, but, that is kind of pulling us away from task a little bit, but I can say that I've been fixated on getting the town report done and kind of set other things aside. But, that being said, we've had the, tax billing went out, that took a lot of Debbie's time and Sarah's time. I even helped stuff envelopes, so, that's something with that, the transition from calendar year to fiscal year, so that whole new tax billing, that took up a chunk of time that hasn't happened in the past.
Right.
That, and then, translation of reporting from one computer to another didn't go as smoothly as anticipated.
Oh, yeah.
With page breaks and all of that, so it took thumb drives and emails and editing and back and forth between myself and the printers, the girls across the hall to kind of do a test run. So it wasn't a smooth process at all, and at the end of the day, I feel I'm the last one to touch it, so I have that extra weight on my shoulders. But, I think if I could have a few days to make sure, page numbering seems like an easy thing, but when the page numbers are intertwined and interwoven throughout the warrant, it has to match up. And then when you get last minute reports coming in, although I did reach out to people and try to encourage them to get them in, you know, things happen. It's how it is. So I think if we can start out maybe a little bit earlier next year.
That's what I was gonna ask.
Yeah.
What
And-
can we do to make things easier next year?
Having it be a fiscal year too, Debbie says that the auditor will have a whole year to get the figures to her, so that will be a step in the right direction.
Yeah, sure.
But finally, I just ask that they please focus on my table of contents and have, if they could match everything to the table of contents, that I would be very happy. And we got it down to just two things that were kind of transposed, and I said basically, you pick the color, as long as it's not pink or red, go for it. We need to get this done, so.
So how many copies are you gonna get?
I didn't actually request a number because they had that on file, so,
They do the every door mailer.
Yeah, and then we ended up with people that don't pick them up at the post office and stuff, we ended up with a box of them, you know, last year.
Yeah.
yes, we always have extra.
Yeah, we had about
A lot
70 left
extra.
over.
Yes,
So that's why I'm saying, if we had 70 left, if we had, say, 60 or so like that right here,
We'll find out
what they can give us.
when they're gonna hit the post office, cause I think, what's her name, the other lady,
Belinda.
brings the extras in. So we won't get them here until,
Yeah, I picked them up last year, these small ones.
yeah, so hopefully we can grab a few
Yeah.
from the printer tomorrow, and but we'll see. Thank you. It is good.
I'm sorry.
No. All right. River Road culvert.
I didn't want to pressure her too much either and have her get upset, and then that could backfire, so I was trying to walk that fine line.
River Road culvert, what did you guys find?
It's Saddleback Road status.
Oops, yeah, sorry.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
Saddleback Road status.
Mary.
Oh, I don't live on Saddleback.
Yeah, absolutely. Good thing we got you here, Mary. We'll just keep
Oh,
it. All right, Saddleback status.
Well, I can touch on that one for you.
We
We went up
also
and,
road commissioner.
well, we went up and, raced it around and got it so it was much more user friendly. It's, for a dirt road, it's looking pretty good. We did get the other end opened up again, off from east, Saddleback. I don't know that where it was. And we ended up taking and pulling a bunch of material out and filling the bottom with rocks and getting the water so it'll actually drain out of the road versus up through the road.
Okay, good.
But it's, a cement truck was going up it yesterday from Brown Road all the way up through, so can't be in too bad shape, I'd say. He made it.
Good.
I was up there yesterday, I called the road in pretty good shape,
Yeah.
you know, for what it is and stuff. There was an inch and a half rocks, where you had raked and stuff, and probably
Right.
made it a little rough and stuff, and other than that, I didn't call it bad for a dirt road.
Yeah.
You give that another day and that'll all be counted in.
Yeah.
There's more traffic on that road than there is 113. Honest to God, I was up there raking yesterday and I had to pull off so many times a lot of traffic here.
When I met you yesterday, that's where I was just coming from.
Oh, yeah.
He said you passed him going pretty fast.
Dwight going fast.
Now, that goes back to moonshine days.
All right, now the River Road culvert. This is about the request we had last night.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so there were some complaints, concerns about big potholes right at the location of the bridge, I guess?
Yeah.
I haven't seen
Yeah,
that.
we were over there, yes, earlier today, and we were gonna try to get over there and fill them out, but we didn't get there today, so that'll be, depending on the rain tomorrow.
Yeah, yeah.
One of the other issues I had was the guardrails and how well attached they are. So I could look at
I
that.
can take a look, see what they're
Yeah.
like.
All right, that's all.
River Road straightening, question to Dave Laurie.
So I have spoken with a Curtis Pierce, and he said, just give me the paperwork. And so I drafted a email to David Laurie, asking him exactly what the simplest way to do this would be. Are we gonna just do it with a letter of agreement, or do we need something else? And so if you agree, I'll forward that on.
Yep. Yep. Opera reporting status.
Question?
Oh, go ahead.
I've always questioned that, curve on River Road. I was up it just a couple of days ago, and there's just a little trickle of water buzzing. How do we know if, there might be a big rock ledge under that hillside, or once you dig a little down, you may open a larger spring there, need more water? How do you know? Is it worth it?
I don't think they're actually digging, they're doing a lot more filling than digging, actually. They're not doing into the side of the hill.
Okay, you aren't changing the course of the road then?
They are changing the course of the road, but not the way Owen originally proposed.
Okay.
It was to go to the right,
Yeah.
coming from Pigeon Brook Road. It's more going to the left, which is more of a fill operation.
Okay, I wasn't aware of that.
Yeah, and it
Okay,
straightens the S out.
I rest my case.
So we had some engineers look at it too, and the angular pose of the left that, with that sand bank and stuff like, if we get any closer to that, it would slide right back down into
Yeah,
the
that's
road.
possible. I know a few houses up there, was a new house put in, and, Bald was all saying, except that house, they had a blast for the cellar.
Yeah.
It was a ledge.
The house up on the end of the road.
Yeah. About 4 houses, further down, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, opera reporting status.
Okay, so I just saw the email after I put that on the list, but,
Yes, Debbie said making daily attempts to log on so that she can pass it over to me to get on. And our information, our prior information is still not showing. And, when she spoke with MMA, he told her basically to get in line because there were 3,000 other emails of folks that were in the similar boat. So, that being said, we missed the deadline. So, they have record of our email request. So hopefully that will be sufficient enough that once they get things up and running, that we'll be able to get on and do the necessary reporting to get the allotment of funds.
MMA says, by now, most officials have experienced technical issues.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's just blank. Debbie as the administrator can put me on as,
Reporting.
a reporting officer essentially. And I had to go through, sending them photos of both sides of my driver's license. They sent me an app that took a picture of my face, and fortunately, 50 pounds later, it still matches. but they wanted my social security number, everything. And, so I'm definitely on their rolls of people that are approved to do the reporting. Debbie actually did, she went behind me and did the same thing, so.
Oh, yeah, yeah. Wow.
Yeah, that was quite a process.
Yeah.
But it should show the last disbursement of funds and our history of information, and that's all blank, that's a little catch. And that's the same problem that is consistent with all the other towns that are having problems.
Yeah, not.
Right. but they're, very vigilant about making sure that the appropriate people are logging in,
Yeah. Yeah.
which is a good thing.
Yeah. Yes, yeah. All right, MMA Zoom on broadband expansion May 6th.
I don't know if you folks received that email notice,
Yeah.
either you interested in,
That might be interesting, right? Just so we do it right here, right?
you can do it here, or you can do it at home, and, well, maybe one of us should, so. There's a lot going on with it, I haven't really been following it, but, some point, I think it's another one of those issues that we're gonna have to address.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be easy.
It's not gonna be cheap.
Selectmen ordinance on road postings for mud season.
Okay, Chris?
I briefly looked at the email you sent me,
Uh-huh,
but I wanted to print it out and I haven't had a chance to actually read over it yet.
okay. Is it, when you post the roads for mud season closings, if the town doesn't have a ordinance, people can ignore it if they want to.
Really?
Yeah. So we should pass the ordinance, it's one that the selectmen can pass.
By ourselves?
Ourselves.
By ourselves.
We have to go through the process of announcing a public hearing and talking about it and whatnot, but it's a pretty standard thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought that's something we ought to do.
Yeah.
Well,
I know I did notice one thing on there, which is under the main Title 29 as well, but I think as the town, if you're gonna do an ordinance, you can change it, which is if you are unloaded and whether you're registered over 23,000 pounds or not, you can run the road, which I think if we're gonna do it, we should make that not a thing.
well, that's why I gave it to you.
Yeah, well, that's, like I said, that was one of the things that jumped out at me, which, you know, the orange signs say that in the writing, but the town can always do an ordinance in tighter conjunction of Maine's Title 29.
Yeah.
Can we know more,
So what,
weight limit of the truck, all that?
right, you can limit it however you want it. One of the things like Maine 29 says is, and the orange signs say it, is that basically, it doesn't matter what size your truck is, if you're empty, you can run the road. So, and I've called the state police and DOT and all of them to figure this all out, because I'm like, that's kind of a pointless thing.
Well, it is.
I mean, you're talking 23,000 pounds, you're gonna limit it, but you're gonna let a 43,000 pound tractor trailer run it as long as he's empty.
Right.
As long as he's got 5 or 6 X's, right?
It didn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
Axles don't matter, it's just, it doesn't matter if your registered weight is 100,000 pounds. If you're empty, you can run the road.
Yeah, that don't make sense at all, does it?
Exactly,
But the more axles you have, the more your weight is gonna be spread out.
correct, but it goes by registration weight. So, at the end of the
So, I mean,
day.
you take like a log truck, probably weighs what, 40,000, maybe 45,000?
Yeah.
So, but he's on 6 X's, and he's wearing 45,000, but you say you don't want one single axle over 23,000.
Well, it doesn't define it as single axle over 23,000. It just says registered weight over 23,000 pounds.
Which would be a single axle.
Is it single axle or vehicle weight, gross weight?
GVW,
Right, it'd be the gross vehicle weight.
pretty sure that's what it says.
I think so too.
All the Ryder trucks I rented, 24-foot box were 23,000 pounds.
Exactly. For a
And
single
I
axle.
also think they did it because it was 24,000, you need a CDL license,
Yeah,
right?
yes,
Yeah.
So they held it down to 23,000.
yeah.
Well,
But we can look at
find
that.
out and see what you want. There was the other issue that we talked about several times, which is, how do you limit, vehicle traffic on a road that's just getting pounded too much?
Right.
And, by heavy trucks. Was it 3
the log trucks, chip trucks, they all use it as a cut-through road,
Yeah.
which, I mean, it is. I drive it every day, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
I go that way to work, and I cut across on Fremont, it's easier.
Yes.
But I'm also in a pickup truck and a log truck.
So just read the thing closely and see what we can and can't do.
And I know, cause like, the town of Standish did that with Boundary Road.
Yeah.
Boundary Road?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, it's, I think, no
No
three
three
axle
axle.
or
No three axle.
20 ton, 18 ton, something like that.
Yeah, but they're
16.
using that pretty heavy right now.
Oh, yeah,
Robbins lumber trucks are running down through there right now,
yeah,
loaded,
oh, yeah.
yeah.
And then there's the other issue not associated with that, I don't believe, but was the one we talked about a lot last fall, when you folks first started working for us, was when we close a road for winter maintenance, that doesn't mean that it's closed for there ever after for winter maintenance. It means when we, the selectmen, vote to close the road for winter maintenance and we determine a determination point, it's there until we vote again for something different.
Right.
And, so we've got that, was it the Carl Bernal Road?
On Route 11 side. the
Yeah.
section we don't
The
own.
one house.
Yeah, the section we don't own, the section we don't own.
What do you mean, we don't- oh,
If you look in the,
Well, they have paperwork, it was never accepted.
yeah, the paperwork stops it on the other end of town, it was never actually accepted as a town road, even though by now it's town road, I guess, by eminent domain.
Probably, yeah.
Just like Douglas Hill,
Yeah.
you know, from Lehman Road to Bliss Road, we don't own. I think it's Lehman.
Yeah.
but I think derived from that was the question of, can we just not plow a road, that has somebody living on it?
Right.
And I think Dwight, you said you've seen examples of it around,
Yeah, Standish, the middle road, Standish, the river road, Livingston,
yeah,
they got houses on, but when they pass the road signs and stuff like where it says closer, when they get a part themselves.
well, the question is, how do they do that? And if it's legally, or some kind of agreement with the owners, or what, but
Yeah.
before we do anything like that, we need to understand
Right.
rules, because the last time we broached the subject, it was, if somebody's living there, on the
Yeah.
town road,
Yeah.
you have to maintain it.
Right.
Yeah.
for them.
That's been a topic for years,
Yeah.
my father.
But if that's not the rule, then let's see what it is. I mean, I'm always open
Yeah.
to something that's we missed, so.
We just don't wanna get in trouble for this.
Oh, yeah, no, I'm not in trouble. That's for sure.
All right, good, thank you.
Personnel ordinance update. You wanna get started on that?
I already did a draft, and, I think I passed it around. This was shortly before, somebody resigned.
Oh.
But there, you know, there were some important issues in there.
Yeah.
Like whether people coming to work when the weather's bad.
Yeah.
And we discussed that after the tornadoes hit in, Tennessee or Kentucky, whatever, and the people weren't allowed to leave work.
Yeah.
There's that, and there's the issue with, people's, leave, accrued leave, and when you can take it, when not. Some of the things in the old ordinance need to be updated.
When we carry over
Yeah.
the next year, yeah.
And, so my proposal would be that this is just another one of those things that we need to get done and out of the way as soon as we can, so.
Yeah.
After the town meeting, we can
Hash it out again.
start
Yeah.
looking at the revised, or the update that I've posted, and then, see when we can call a special town meeting to.
Yeah.
Well, should we have another office meeting to
Yeah,
kind of review things again before we go to
Yeah.
special town meeting and
Yes.
look at the revision like we do a warrant and kind of,
Everybody, you know, Chris and Deb, and, yeah.
It affects the town employees, so.
Yeah, right.
They should be on board with it, I mean, and that's what we did before, we all
approved it.
Let's approve that that's what we want to go forward to townspeople with.
Yeah, yeah. All right, sure. Consideration to deconflict Mother's Day and possible school budget meetings and town meeting in the future. So, do we change town meeting day?
It's something to think about. I mean, we can decide when the town meeting is going to be.
Right.
And Mother's Day is not a big thing for me. My mother's been on one year.
Yeah.
But we should think very seriously about that. It's, I don't know about the school budget issue. That's, what that was about, was it made a conflict with the school budget meeting last night, with our Meet the Candidates night.
Yeah.
But I think that'll get resolved maybe, I don't know. They don't check with us when they schedule school budget stuff, so.
Right, yeah.
But
Well, see, we got the same thing with the, Republican committee meeting is gonna be the same day as town meeting.
Yeah, that's right.
We didn't know nothing about that.
Come Saturday morning.
Yeah.
I guess it's only gonna be like a couple hours. They did it.
I mean, it shouldn't be a problem, but it could have been a problem.
Could have been, yeah.
You know, if they scheduled it for the afternoon or something, which
Yeah.
they have in the past. But it'd been nice to have some heads up on it.
Yeah, yeah,
Debbie said that she was aware of it.
she was. I might have gotten an email from Dan about it, and I'm on his email list, so I attend some of the meetings.
I got an email saying they was gonna have that,
Yeah,
but then I'm thinking it's, it's the same day as town meeting and
yeah,
stuff, so.
yeah.
well, I'm personally not opposed to moving it up a week.
I'm-
But that resolves the issue.
Right.
Well, next year, I mean, we'll look ahead at the calendar a little bit, just see what's
Yeah,
gonna hit and stuff like that.
but this is the date that we set back in December.
Right,
So,
right.
yeah.
We wanted to make it still the first Saturday of the month. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
We don't want to break that tradition.
It's the second Saturday in March.
That's right, yeah. So we'll make it the second Saturday. Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Well, all right, this is something to talk about.
Yeah, sure.
We recognize that there's an issue, at least we don't have a chance of fixing it.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Reminders.
Town meeting.
Town meeting, yeah. Special town meeting on Saturday. It's 8 to noon time voting and 1 to whenever.
It says 12:30,
12:30?
yeah.
Okay.
8.
I just trying to remember.
Why, it's important to me.
Yeah, town meeting's at 1, and like Mary said, voting's 8 to 12:30.
12:30.
We gotta have a half an hour to eat.
Yeah.
That's important.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Some reason I thought it was an hour, so they're getting time to come folks and stuff. And eat. The auxiliary will be there to do the bake sale and serve food, as usual. What else we got? We got, planning board meetings
On the 12th.
on the 12th, next week. Joe, got it?
Nope.
Mary, got it?
No, no, thank you, that's all you do.
Mr. Chris?
I got something.
I know what you got.
Well, so we have had some minor difficulties with the zero turn this year.
Yeah.
On getting it to run, to stay running, to restart when it stops. We've done battery, starter, adjusted valves, et cetera. Right the second it's running, it is 10 years old, and it's got 800 hours on it. I don't promise on how long it'll run again, just because, I took it out, we charged the battery, it started right up. We were like, okay, let's service it, we serviced it, it started right up, it sat for another week, and it wouldn't start. And it's been doing, it's almost as if it was possessed, in my opinion. I don't know. It's been very difficult to keep it running, I guess. And I have no problem with taking it somewhere to get somebody to look at it if we have an issue, but everywhere right now is about 4 weeks out. And I'm very concerned with if it's gonna stay running long enough to keep everything mowed for Memorial Day. I didn't know what the board's thought was on possibly looking at buying another one, and keep this one as backup, and keep the older one up here for Randy to mow the school with. There's about one within an hour of here, as far as I can find by calling everyone, and that's $27.99, I think.
Is that a John Deere?
John Deere, yeah. They don't make the same model anymore, for a good reason, apparently. We've been watching YouTube, reading everyone else's troubleshooting, because I'm like, why is it doing this? This shouldn't do it. And I've been in contact with one of the guys that used to work for Halls, and he goes, yep, that motor is a bear. He's like, we've had all kinds of issues with it. Adjust this, adjust that, do this, do that. My guess, from what we can find out, is that the camshaft may be getting ready to go. Which is what we found out from what other people have been saying that we've been reading on. That's a common thing for that motor, and it's about a $500 repair. Like I said, it is running, was running. I don't see it, it's in the shed out back here.
That's it.
So what's the cost to buy a replacement one?
It's $2,799.
Well, this minute could be the,
And
camshaft, tomorrow it could be something else.
Exactly, it's 10 years old and it's got 800 hours.
800 hours on it. It's
Everywhere,
They work for the house.
the John Deere dealerships that I've talked to, they've all said that you've hit the life expectancy with flying colors. So like usually around 600 is when they grenade.
Usually what you do though with something like that is you drop a new motor in it.
And, and that's if you can get one.
Yeah,
What
but
the availability is.
I don't know what size motor does it have?
It's got
20, more?
I think it's got an 18 or an 18 and a half, but it's a horizontal,
Right,
so it's not a vertical, it goes out the back.
yeah, but replacement motors generally are, $1,800 to
What machine is
$2,000.
it now? Tractor?
It's the John Deere Zero Turn.
It's a lawnmower.
It's the lawnmower, yeah. To do all this.
Rick, I use Mike down south Cornish mechanic. Jody David, he works with Jody David. Jody David is a monster truck racer. So they build monster trucks. He's a crackerjack mechanic. He's been worked on my tractor twice and split the thing in half to work on the clutch. He knows his stuff. Maybe if we can arrange to get him to take a look at it.
So, a little bit of background, this morning we went through the steps, it seemed like the compression, there's too much compression and it's not releasing. So we adjusted the valves, didn't seem to make a difference, did the same problem, took the plug out, put the plug back in, we sat there, we thought about it for a minute, went back over and the thing fired it up. Tried it 6, 7 times, put it all back together,
And did the same thing again, didn't start up.
wouldn't start.
Waited 5 minutes and it started right back up again.
So how much did it cost to have you do all that?
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, it's,
We've got 2 days into it right now.
Yeah.
It's
Well,
really
that's what I'm saying, though,
good.
is once you get the high hours on a motor, usually you replace them.
Yeah.
And, but, they're almost gonna be as much money doing that as it,
Just
you
buy
just
it.
got a new one,
Yeah.
which has you know, the deck is all new, new bearing.
Yeah,
The guy told us he would hold it until tomorrow at noon time.
And that's up to North Country Tractor in Austin. Paul's told me, yeah, I can get you one, it might be August or September.
Wow.
If you're lucky, he goes, they won't even give me any projected dates. I got the same story from Chad, I got the same story from Chad Little in Brunswick and in
I was
Scarborough.
gonna say, even if you could get a motor for it,
And
it
that's
could be a
just it,
long
you know.
time before you get it.
You know, when we had to order the starter, that was almost a week out,
Yeah,
just to get the starter.
yeah.
That's what all.
I would recommend you get,
Yeah.
I would recommend that you get a new one. You'll be prepared to get through the summer.
Yeah.
So will that come out of, as far as money wise, will that come out of the town equipment fund?
I mean, we got one in the cemetery.
I was gonna say cemetery, yeah.
We do.
No, it's only 9,000, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well,
Well, it hasn't been approved yet.
but it's shared with the town
And
office
the mower, I
also,
mean-
because Randy uses it to mow the ball fields and everything, so,
The lawnmower?
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it gets heavy use out
Oh,
here
yeah, oh,
too,
yeah.
so it's kind of like a joint
Yeah.
machine.
What is in your budget for cemeteries for the 6 months, do you remember?
I don't know if it was anything, actually.
I think it was a little bit.
It's
Well, maybe it was 4,000.
4,000 for 6 months.
Yeah. There should be enough there to buy I don't know what getting you through, but,
Say wood board that?
Yeah, it's the same 42, that was the hard part.
Yeah.
You know, Paul's is like, yeah, I got some 55s, and I got a 60 and a 62, and I'm like, you ain't gonna know nothing with that around here. I mean, this, but,
Well, I mean, you
Go
go
around Stone.
cemetery up in West Baldwin, it's got
oh
some
yeah,
stones
it's narrow.
tight.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is why I was looking for that 42.
Yeah,
And M&B Tractor had one, not at the Gorham location, but another location. They had a 42-inch zero turn, but they want $4,500 for it. And I said, that's a little high for me.
yeah, yeah.
I think it can come out of the town equipment, fund, but I have to look at it to see, to verify. But if that's the case, then we, the selectmen, can vote to approve it.
Okay.
So I would say, in the meantime, use the cemetery money to go
Okay.
get one.
Okay. I will talk to Debbie.
You don't need to be fighting equipment all summer.
I know, and that's,
Right.
You call tomorrow on it, sort of
I'll,
secure it?
yeah, I'll go, yeah, I can go up and get it tomorrow. In the rain, I can go up and pick it up tomorrow. I'll hook onto the trailer over there.
You go pick it up, you won't have to pay the sales tax.
Right. Well, you shouldn't have to pay sales tax anyway.
You got the tax.
Government, no sales tax.
I was thinking, my son-in-law bought a tractor overnight or something, he went up and picked it up, and then they paid the sales tax.
Right.
Yeah, it's always, getting away from that,
Get the
is
delivery.
great.
That's right.
You know, you're supposed to claim that.
Yeah, I know.
Come on, Mike.
We bought
Wow, it's substantial amount of money, you know?
we bought a couple of clients at Green Mountain Furniture, and I think about having them deliver.
Into the lake again.
They can hold on to it and pay that. So I guess I can ask Debbie for a check then?
Yes.
Okay.
Go do it, yeah, go do it. She's pretty, yeah.
Sheila,
Give him free rein.
He's out of here.
I've had a headache the last couple weeks, had it going, haven't had it going,
So,
The
you
grass-
spend too much time on
The
it.
grass is starting to grow.
Yeah,
Well, even if you can get the old one fixed, just to have it up and running, because if something goes wrong with the new one,
I know, flashing.
then you still might not be able to get parts for a new one, so
right, yeah,
it's good to have the two of them
Right.
as a
Well,
backup.
it'd also be good too, like, if this is hard to mow, then use the old ones for the whole part of here.
yeah.
Well, Kyle Libby, the gentleman that, the coach there, he's using his own, and he agreed to use his own lawn tractor mower until we can get it squared away, so. He was out there mowing and really fixed up the infield.
Yeah, it looks good.
He's putting a lot of work into it out there, so.
Good to see it getting used.
Yep.
All right, Steve, you got anything else? Okay. Bruce?
Neil cannot, meet on the 10th.
Okay,
all right, like we talked about.
right,
But he would like to do a Zoom in the morning, because he's got something going on in the afternoon.
to Zoom, okay.
I don't know how you guys feel about that, or I might be able to get him in here for the 11th, too.
I can do, what's it, the 11th, Wednesday? I can do the 11th.
The question is, do you want to do a Zoom, or do you want to meet in person?
Zoom? It's okay with me.
You guys can set it up, don't ask me to set it up, because you never get it.
No, we can do, I don't care, whatever
Let
day.
him set it up, and we'll invite us in.
Okay. You want to do it on the 10th or the 11th?
The 11th?
In the morning?
Sounds good to me, yeah.
What time? 9, 10? I'm just want some numbers to give to him, that's all.
Yeah.
10 o'clock?
10 o'clock? Okay, right.
And just to run by it quickly, we were all right there on the 9th. I meet with the ISO, and at the beginning, I thought they wanted to talk to the selectmen. The last time I talked to him, it sounded like he didn't have to talk to him. But I didn't know, Wes, they sent him a paper to fill out and stuff like that. And
Really?
knew nothing about that, so,
Really?
knew nothing about that. So that's gonna happen anyhow on the 9th. With ISO. Mainly, he wants to go around, he wants to see what the run pads are and stuff like that. Training and things like that. Some of it was good, some of it was horrible, so, like I said, expect either, good or bad.
Yeah,
Give a baseline, something to straighten out, and get it back on course where it needs to be,
you're right, yeah,
once you get going with it.
yeah.
And I've got a lot of training coming up this month, the 15th, 18th, 40th. Pump testing is the 20th, that would be another big deal for you guys, well, coming out of our accountants, you want to see that too, because I know you see a lot going through tonight, in the past week here, so that will be another big one coming. I do have tank 2, so we're all on board, it's up the lake region in New Hampshire, lakes, and the pump was making a lot of noise, and didn't know what it was, took it up and talked to him last week, and we put sand through the pump.
Ooh,
So we, have the parts coming towards the end of the week, and we probably is not gonna see the truck till sometime in the first next week. They're replacing the ring inside to seal it and the impeller, that's what their parts is doing. I'm looking at like 2,300 that.
yeah.
Before it was in.
That's not the one that pulled a mess of fish through it, though.
Well, no, that's where I'm going with this, because I do believe the problem is up there. I can't say it for 100%. Weeman Road, we had a fire yesterday, went up to fill up the Weeman, and the pump was acting weird and making weird sounds, and stuff that just wasn't common. And didn't know what it was. And I was walking back down to the pond, and Howard yelled at me, he said, I found the problem. Went up, the intake was right full of baby eel, not eels, compound. Yes, right up in the, and even in the grates.
Really?
I didn't trust it, because I knew it probably got an impeller, and if it got an impeller, they was probably in the tank. So we kept filling the tank up, dumping it, fill it up, dump it. And the truck does sound better, I just hope everything's out of the pump for that. And then, looking at that, I found when we was back flushing, bubbles coming out where it wasn't supposed to. And the more I'm thinking about it, that there's tiny holes there, there's no way those fish can go in those holes. And it looked like the flap on the end was closed. I'm thinking that the ice is getting there and broke the pipe, because back prior to where all these holes are, I had big bubbles coming up, very little coming out of the end. So I'm thinking that down underneath we're broke. And what I'll do is supposed to warm up either Thursday or Friday, is get up there and wade out in there, so it's only like 2 or 3 feet deep, And even if I have to clean out under it, I think what I might be able to do is shovel it and clean out and go over the hardware store before I go and get, you know, a tight mesh screen.
Yeah.
Just to wrap it, to keep, you know, the animals from eating the fish. Going back in there, and we should be able to use it. Other than that, right now, we will have to, use a suction hose going in, not using a hydrant. Use a suction hose. And why I'm kind of putting it off, Jeff's got a wedding at the end of the month, and he kind of doesn't want us to make a mess in the holiday right now. So, it'd be nice, I guess we'll wait till the end of the month before we decide what's the proper way to fix it. More than likely, we're gonna have to pump it down and then walk in.
Yeah.
But that is an easy one to do because it has, a culvert coming in, so we can block it with sandbags. Stop the water coming in and set there and pump with a couple trucks.
Yeah.
For however long to get it down below. If there is a hole, and I'm fairly confident there's a hole good size.
Sounds like it, yeah.
So that's that. I talked to Rob today quite a bit, and I think some of the run cards and stuff probably be changed. Some of his ideas was anything from on 113 down to the inlet, and 25 on Manchester Road, Manchester Road, and going over Oak Hill from the Boundary Road. If there's any call in that area, he would like to see an engine and a tank go automatically.
Yeah.
We're getting that now from them.
Yeah.
So I can't say no, but it'll have to be written in, you know, our cards and stuff like that, his cards.
So,
But I don't wanna get too far ahead of myself until we get through the study and say, what are we gonna do? Because there may be a lot more of this.
yeah, it's all like an automatic.
This is something we threw back and forth today.
Yeah.
So just let you know, it's in the works, but I can't see changing it now and then go back and change something else, you know, 2 months down the road.
He seemed quite enthused about our study.
He wants to see the whole thing, and when I give it to him, once I get it cleaned up, you know, I can send a copy. I told him I could send him what I got now, but it wouldn't mean anything until you guys decide on the final thing. So, other than that, that's about it. I got a lot of other stuff, but we will get through it someday.
Okay. Chad? Okay. Wes?
I got a few things. Robin showed me a letter that came to the selectmen from, Jason Simmons, who deals with Firefly, subdivision. There's a fellow, David Blyes, owns, lot 7A down by the river, and, more recently, has, been, deeded that his right-of-way to get to his land will be, the right-of-way, the pole line that starts up right near Firefly Lane. But he's been using another dirt road, Riley's Intervale, and, this letter involves, Jason Simmons, who owns the land that Riley's Intervale goes through. And, he in the letter, he's saying something about, the little excavation on the road there. So, Rob and I have been out there Friday, dealing with, the lay of the land and to address this David Blyes. And I went back out Saturday and, visited, down there. And so I called him, and I told him the situation, and that Riley's, Intervale will not be used in a while once David settles down and starts using the pole line as the right-of-way, which is a surveyed, deeded right-of-way to his land. So that sounds good. He was very happy I called and satisfied, and actually the excavation was nothing more than a little hole by the side of the road to drain water out of a low area during the winter when David was using it. And David's tractor's parked up on River Road right at the end because it broke down. Been there quite a while. So that solved that. I only went ahead and called because Rod and I had been out there Friday and I was out there Saturday during just out of curiosity, Bob sent me an email about, DL 2003 being signed and passed, and I've always been under the impression it was, being signed to go back to committee to get refined and finalized. So I wrote, Senator Bill Diamond, and I pushed a few other comments in, and he gave me a brief answer, which, will answer everything, and it's pretty nice. He says, LD 2003 has passed and will take effect 90 days after we adjourn on May 9th, so that's somewhere early August. My opposition to the bill was specifically the points you made. It doesn't fit well with more rural communities, and it does take away local control. The bill was much worse before it was amended due to lack of support. Still, it's not something I could support. So there are some negative things on that. What else here? Just like the animal control officer, I've been dealing with, some people out on a little side road, farm road off of Wiggins Road. There's been complaints, about huge manure pile and 2 dead hogs on top of the manure pile and stuff, and so I gave a visit, and not much was accomplished. The people probably are not capable of taking care of it or have the money to, so I stopped in with a neighbor, Alan Dolph, and he's taking care of it. So there shouldn't be any more complaints. There was from Gene Thomas, who's been in here before, attempting to get a variance for a garage and whatnot, so the background and the track record is favorable. And then finally, our friend Peter Marion complaining about 79 Pigeon Brook Road. You know, it's I've had 4 or 5 emails in the past 3 weeks with him, and he's been asking, can we change the ordinance so we can prevent RVs being used as temporary residence there. He finally gets down to the point, he says, well, what I'm really interested in is the repeated use. Every summer another one comes up. Once for one summer is enough. So I think I'm going to try one more answer, and cite the private campsite ordinance and the use of RVs and whatnot, and if he's not happy about that, I'm going to recommend to get him on the agenda to come in here one of these meetings and have a chat with all of us.
Well, I understand his frustration is that there's drug paraphernalia in front of his house and drunk on the street and stuff. He believes it's coming from people staying at that place.
He keeps on pulling in the character, and one of my answers is, I deal in land use, not criminal activity.
Right.
So,
I understand. And we appreciate your trying to address it as best you can.
That's settled down, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know why the sheriff's department can't do a little bit more though.
No, I don't think they will.
No, I mean, it's hard for us if we can't get the backup from law
I
enforcement.
heard some discouraging information from, Hiram Selectmen the other night at the, Tri-Town meeting.
Well,
Where, you know, repeated offenders get turned back out on the street.
Keith and his wife Anita Hargis were there, and they weren't the problem, but it was their sons that were the problem. And the sons would come and go, and they were hanging around with Richard. That was the conflict there, not the adults who had the trailer. But anyhow, that's
No, I know,
been settled out, so.
Well, he sees it in other
So Peter's upset about the characters being his neighbors, and rightfully so, you know, and you no one wants a bunch of degenerates living next to you, but, everybody has certain rights, and the right to live in an RV for 7 months, it's there, you know, and it fills a need.
So what was you saying, Bob, about having a discussion with the Hiram Selectmen?
Well, the other day when we were at the Tri-Town, I can't forget
out on the street, you know, he was taken to court and given a slap on the wrist and put right back out again.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, yeah.
Sometimes they don't even get the slap on the wrist.
Yeah, well, currently, there's another RV there, and Peter wrote me, I was out there within 24 hours, and I talked to the person there, they said, we're friends of the family, we're visiting for 1 week. So we'll see what happens after 1 or 2 weeks. Peter sends back photos of a woman that probably his mother. I talked to a younger person, probably in the mid-20s, and wrong person, that's not the person, and sends a rap sheet of arrest records they've had, you know, so he's blowing it out of the situation, the situation.
I would suggest, perhaps Peter be told about our ruling that, 25 signatures on a petition to the selectmen will get something on the warrant, and that if he has an idea of something he wants to change about how we deal with RVs,
Yeah,
that might be a really good route to go.
he has suggested, changing the ordinance a little bit.
And so this way he could, this is a way to approach changing the ordinance.
Yeah, yeah.
I love it, because when the planning board or the selectmen come to the people with an ordinance, it's new to them.
Yeah.
But if you've gotten 25 signatures, and usually you get 30 because you wanna make sure,
Yeah, right, yeah.
you know, you've already talked to 30 people.
Right.
Yeah.
You
That
know,
makes
you've
sense,
already,
that makes sense, that's good, positive direction, yep.
Yeah. Yeah, anything else, Russ?
That's it.
Okay. Robin? Bob, you got anything else? What?
What about your truck down to, Casco Bay Motors?
Oh, yeah, you see the quote for that?
I see that.
I kind of forgot all about that. I'm assuming you guys probably wanna fix it.
I would say yes.
Okay.
I mean, we don't have nothing in the budget to replace it with or anything right now.
Well, that's kinda what I figured, I forgot all about it, to even think about it. I had all these other problems on my mind. Yeah, so I will call them and let them know, and don't have a clue when it'll get fixed, but,
Well, and the parts thing is gonna be probably.
yeah. Well, they already put one of them, and said back ordered right on the email, so.
Yeah.
Pretty bad when they know it's back ordered in the quote.
Yeah, you're right.
He actually, when I talked to him on the phone, he said that there was more than one part that was on back order, but that was
Yeah, I think the email says.
specifically
a few
that
parts,
one.
I think
You're
is what it
right.
said, but,
I think the sooner you give him an okay to start, though, the better it is, he'll get stuff started on his end.
Yeah.
I'll let them know.
You got a full plate. Anything else, what?
No?
Well, I got nothing. So we have motion to adjourn?
I move we adjourn.
Second? All in favor?